Hey y'all, my name is Tamara Andress. I am your Fit and Faith podcast host, and I am pumped to be here. Just me, no words, no scripts, no intros, no outros. I love authenticity. I hope to breed vulnerability, and I usually do this alongside another dreamer, mover, shaker, entrepreneur, passionista is what I love to call them. If you're a dude, then a dude. But I am loving just coming together in community with other people to share their high and low stories, to share their journeys to comeback, because I believe ultimately that's where God would have us. He would have us on the mountaintop. And even though we learn a ton in the pit and in the valley, God would want us right now, especially in this season of life, in this time of our culture, to shine. And so here I am. I want to teach you how to shine. I want to be alongside you when you get your glow. I want to catapult you into your calling, whatever that is. So this isn't a fitness podcast. This is not a religious banter, though we preach Jesus all day long. And this is not just about nutrition or health or wealth, though I like some green, and I know you do too. It's not okay for us to not be okay with talking about all of these things in unison. You guys, we don't just need a mental health podcast. We don't just need a fitness podcast. We don't just need a religious, spiritual podcast. It needs to blend. This is what Fit and Faith is all about. It's all about creating alignment, connectivity. It's about pursuing your wholeness and claiming it over your life and over the lives of the loved ones that you have around you in your community. So thank you for tuning in. I would love to get to know you more. You can like, review, subscribe, whatever it is. Send me an email, DM me. It's me. I have an amazing team alongside me, but you guys are getting me for now. So enjoy. I'm so pumped to have a coffee conversation with you, is what I love to call them. Don't have my coffee right now, but I have it in my system, as you can see. All the love. Let's do this together and keep going for your dreams, y'all. I'm so excited to announce today's guest. This is Kristen Crowley. She is a new fast friend. We've kind of just been passing in the night, really, because it's in the evening, at a bunch of networking events.
True.
Recently, but specifically, most recently, I actually attended one of her networking events, which is way more than a networking event. So I'm excited to share what that is. But I'm just excited for you guys to learn about her. It's been incredible just in literally the last 30 minutes.
I know, has it been 30 minutes already?
Yeah,
yes. It's been about 30 minutes.
We were just talking and I'm like, freeze! You have to share this with people. This is so cool. So I'm so grateful to have you here. I know your schedule is bananas and all over the place. So making time for this was so impressionable for me. And I'm so excited to see where your journey is headed, because there's been so much epic change in the last really last month or so. So I don't even know where to start with all that. I guess you introduce yourself. Where have you been in the last year? And then I'll ask questions.
Okay. All right. We'll just, we're going to just wade through it. So Kristen Crowley, I spent the last 12 years working at News Channel 3 here, if any of all your Hampton Roads friends, over at WTKR. And that was a big part of my life. And this year I celebrated my 40th birthday and made a huge decision to put my health and family and passions over my career. And I decided to leave. And I quit on August 23rd, so it's been just over 1 month.
That's so crazy.
And I decided to launch the WellFit Social, which is an event that kind of brings together all aspects of wellness. We've talked about that too, because wellness is mental, internal, and external.
Absolutely.
So it's movement, it's nutrition, it's feelings, it's mental health, and it's all of it. And I think there's been some scary things that have made us really realize that lately. So I just felt the push to do it. So I did. Just left my job.
Awesome. The event ended up being so great. I had no idea what to expect, because you branded it well. You were saying the first of this, and it really was unlike anything that I had been to. I loved seeing my biggest happiness point was seeing the different generations that were represented. And I am so big on diversity, and I loved being in a space where there was different colors, there was different genders, there was different age grouping. So bringing all of them together, I was like, all right, this girl gets it. That's
Trying.
so important to me. And so I don't think that it's well represented in our area. We're in this huge melting pot. I mean, you go to DC and you see it everywhere. There's a blend everywhere, but you come here and in some instances I don't see it. And so that's one reason that I valued my church so much.
Yeah.
Having 14 different nationalities come to one place for a worship service was so awesome. And then when I left and we started our own church, I'm like, all right, where are the sisters?
Yeah, I need everybody, everyone.
I need everyone to be here because we represent a different piece of Jesus in God's heart, and with only one sector of person, you're not expanding. Yeah. So I've connected with so many women since that event, and I'm just grateful that
I love to hear that.
Yeah, what you're doing already has made an impact.
Well, I know, and I'm a part of some women's business groups that are all women, which I absolutely love. I mean, that's my heart. Like I love helping other women, but when I thought about this event, I wanted the thing with the fitness community in general, a lot of on the West Coast, they do it very well. Yeah. They support each other. It's a pretty open network. But here, we don't have as much of it. And I think a lot of people, I mean, we're in the wellness and fitness community, so we think it's normal. Sure. But there's 90% of the world out there who doesn't participate in it because it is intimidating. Yeah. And they feel like they're excluded from it because you have to look a certain way, or you have to feel a certain way, or you have to go to a certain gym. Way. Yeah. Sure. And I was a big proponent of that especially after my second pregnancy. I had 2 very high-risk pregnancies. Okay. So I was on full bed rest for the first one, could not move a muscle for 3 months, and it was horrible, but bounced back weight-wise better after. Yeah. Second one was not as easy with the getting back in shape. And it wasn't that I felt bad because I was still on TV, and I felt good, and what I was wearing, I was 40 to 50 pounds heavier. Wow. But I was able to at least work during that pregnancy, but the weight, I still couldn't be physical. Sure. So it took me forever to get it off. And when I went back to the gym was when I felt some of that intimidation myself. And I was like, I've done fitness my entire life. Yeah. And I just feel because I didn't feel good about how I felt or looked. Totally. And it wasn't, again, I was fine with how I looked in my clothes. I should feel good. It's so true. And it was. And weights, I had postpartum depression with my second child. Okay. That was the only thing that worked. The only time the symptoms went away was in the gym or at hot yoga. Wow. The only 2 things that worked because I hated the medication. Yeah. I hated everything they tried to do to you. Yeah. And so that was my therapy. Yeah. And so once I realized that, I was like, you just have to make people feel comfortable. Yeah. And I mean, I'm the person like at the gym, if I see anybody that's, I'm like, ooh, those leggings or those shit. Like so I'm complimenting everybody because I mean, I know how it felt and I don't want anyone to feel that way. So the event, when it came to be, was I wanted it to be inclusive. Yes. So the speakers, I want everybody to speak to everyone. Yeah. There's a little something for everybody. Yeah. And we did. We had a really crazy mix of people. Awesome. And there was only probably 10 to 15 actual personal trainers or people in fitness,
which I thought was really cool. I did not know what to expect. No. I really liked that part. And I mean, you don't know who you're drawing when you're doing stuff like that. Yeah. But now from there, knowing that you're going to have another one in January, it's kind of like, ooh, like now I know that I can, target this person or I can talk to these people because there were so many different types of people. It was amazing. That's the most valuable part of bringing people together is when they have one connectivity because they're there. Yeah. But now I get to explore what else do we have in common? Yeah. And that then grows the depth of your relationships and your friendships, and the 100%. Concepts, like you were saying, was eventually, like the point was for collaboration, for us to not have this, oh, you're a personal trainer, oh, I'm a personal trainer, oh, you're a nutritionist.
We can't touch each other's people. Oh my God.
Like, it's not the same. And the biggest part for me coming, and I loved the fact that there was so much faith represented. Like you could just feel people's entire energy vibes, whatever it is that you believe in. For me, I was like, oh man, Jesus is all up in this room, and I am so pumped right now because I signed up, and even just the name of my company, Fit and Faith, I'm always like, I wonder what people think about that. Yeah. And yet I had so many people come up and were just curious about what I do, and that wellness piece at the end of the day with the mind, body, soul, or mind, body, spirit, or mind, body, Jesus, whatever you want to call it. People are starting to get it, and I just loved that being there. I saw that people were in that place. Yeah, and I had a lot of feedback about you because your name came up the most of when I asked people who they talked to, and they remembered their conversations with you, which was really cool. That's really amazing. And a lot of my girlfriends, connected with that because again,
it's hard to find balance in when you're doing business in general. But to learn that, we are all the same. And I just think that we're more connected than we think we are. And in all of my years, I was in the restaurant business before television. And I found that I could find something to talk to every single person about. If I just kept asking questions. Because I've had a crazy life.
I've
had a very crazy life. I've worked in almost every facet of industries except like law and medicine, because I won't touch that. I don't have enough patience to sit in school that long. But awesome. Like I've learned so many businesses and so many different personalities that I always I can find someone that I can relate to at a truck pull, and I can find someone I can relate to on Fifth Avenue in New York at an Oscar party. So I've always finding ways to fit in with people, because I didn't really have a lot of friends growing up. So I had to try and fit into all these groups. And
interesting. You're like finding different portions of yourself, because I had this post recently about how the fact that we can be both and. We don't have to be segmented into one area. We were just talking about that, about the niches of our business too. Like, you get to be more than what they say you can be.
Oh yeah, definitely.
And so own that part of yourself. If you're interested in cars and you wear high heels, like, put it together. Let's see what you can come up with. Like, there's going to be people interested in that.
I'm going to tell you, I used to actually ride my Harley in stilettos.
Stop it. That does not surprise me. Can you please get a really amazing photo of that?
So that was about probably, between kids. So that was, I sold my bike a while ago, but because we would go out. And I'm like, well, I'm not wearing crappy shoes when I go out, so I'm going to look cute. So I'd have my cute little leggings and my heels on, and I'd be the one on the bike with heels or flip-flops, because wherever we were going, you're going to duck in when it was back in the day. You had to look cute. So I was the one who, I've always been both sides. I hate being pigeonholed. That's like my biggest thing is underestimating me. Don't underestimate what we're capable of.
Absolutely.
So that's one of my big things.
So I love, so you're saying that you didn't fit in when you were young. Yet you're surrounded by so many people all the time now, which is so cool. But the two things that stick out to me is farming and fashion. So please explain to me and them, how did that come to be, and where does that stem from? It's so good.
My mom is a horse trainer, and I grew up on a horse farm in Michigan. So my mom was an entrepreneur. She did real estate full-time, trained horses full-time, judged horse shows on the weekends, and ran our farm. So we would have anywhere between 38 to 45 horses at a time. Boarders and so on and so forth. Horse people understand it's a grind. So, and I told you, I'm an only child, so I was the only labor my family had. It was me and my mom and my dad until they got divorced when I was in middle school. So we ran the farm. And so every day you were expected to work, and every morning you get up before school, and in Michigan it's freezing in the winter, so you're outside in 5 layers, and you're busting water out of water buckets, and you're trying to get these horses in and out, and you're sliding and falling on the ice, and it's just it was a very tough life in general. Never went on a family vacation in our lives, never took a break, never took a day off. So I was raised in that culture of working, and I was used to hard work. That doesn't bother me. Manual labor, go all day.
I got it.
But when I was super creative as a kid, so I would always design Barbie houses, and I would design them, build them out of carpet remnants, and I liked being creative. And so my mom encouraged that too. And when I got into high school, there was actually, I was not a good traditional school person, as you can imagine. I love it. So I wanted to do something different. They offered a program outside of school for half the day, which here they call them vocational schools. And we went there, and I actually was going to go into auto body. And I was going to go into auto body and design repair for cars because they offered that program, and I love cars and trucks and motorcycles.
So cool.
I was like, oh, that'd be fun. So we went and toured the school, and I stumbled upon a class that was called a visual merchandising class. And so it was visual merchandising and store design. And so for my junior and senior years of high school, I went to this course half the day. And they taught you nothing but, this was back in the day with Corel drawn, like Adobe, probably 0.01. Like it was we had floppy disks. So it was floppy disk days, and we had to design, and we had to build entire storefronts, and we had to build point of sale concepts, and we had to literally hands-on, we learned how to do all this stuff.
That's incredible. I don't feel like they have
They don't.
That's amazing.
And it was amazing. So I technically got my degree in fashion merchandising and store design in high school.
That's awesome.
And so I always loved crazy clothes, but I was the kid who would go to school one day in cowboy boots and a belt buckle and jeans, and the next day I'd be in a purple satin suit. Like I was the weirdest, and that's probably why I didn't fit in, because I was so quiet and I was so shy. Nobody knew what to do with me, except I was on the equestrian team, so the horse people were my friends.
Okay.
I was just so quiet. I didn't speak for most of middle school, which is hard for people to believe.
TV.
Yeah, I didn't. I had a fear of public speaking. I was bullied at the end of like elementary school and middle school, so I stayed really quiet because I just didn't want to be noticed.
Yeah.
And I ended up obviously overcoming that, but
clearly.
It took a while.
Yeah.
But it was, so the fact, like I'd always just liked designing stuff, so I'd redo my bedroom all the time as a kid and stuff like that, but it was always so drastically different.
Wow.
And my mom was like, you're all over the place. And I'm a Gemini, so I am all over the place.
Yeah.
And I just ended up going into design for Lord & Taylor. So I opened and formatted and designed all of their stores and did their window displays and holiday.
Nice.
And but I was like 100% redneck.
Yeah.
And I just felt like, some days you feel like you're just like putting on the outfit.
Sure.
So I'm like, I was a person who you dressed for who you wanted to be.
Absolutely.
And I was that persona wherever we went. So it was, if I was going to work, it was Tahari suits, and I cut my hair to look older back then, because I was 19 years old running a department store, because they thought I went to college.
Sure, because you had all this information.
No, so I was, I was like their youngest manager ever to take over.
Wow.
And I ended up staying with them until they closed down here. That's what brought me to Virginia Beach.
Wow, yeah, I remember when they were at the mall.
So that's how I got here.
That's crazy.
Yeah.
And then what made you transition from that to TV? Like, that's a big difference.
So
I mean, obviously people, but...
Yeah, and I mean, I've always been, like, the horse stuff is still part of my life,
Okay.
and I don't do it as much anymore because of time, and it takes a lot of time. But obviously, I still, am the one who still drives a pickup truck, and that will never leave my system. But so cool. I followed that path and had taken jobs, bartending in the area to meet people.
Yeah,
because I didn't know anyone here when I moved here, and I was underage.
Yeah.
So I couldn't go out. And I ended up, working
awesome.
at the beach.
Yeah,
and
sure.
got to know everybody. Yeah, and that's just getting out and meeting people.
Yeah.
And I overcame a lot of my fears because it was a new city. You can kind of start over. And I just figured, I was like, you have to stop being so quiet.
Yeah.
Like, just be yourself, because people will accept you eventually.
Yeah.
But I was always afraid of just being rejected.
Sure.
And we just, went through the process. And then I went back to the restaurants after Lord & Taylor closed.
Okay.
And it was actually one of my bar customers who drug me kicking and screaming into live television. I didn't want to do it because I was petrified of public speaking.
Yeah, sure.
Petrified. The first commercial I ever did, they had to put me behind a bed because my legs were shaking so bad.
And that was one after another after another.
You just get used. You over. If you want to overcome it, you will overcome it.
Yeah.
And the mindset for me, I had done photo modeling.
Okay.
And I was like, you don't have to talk.
Sure. Yeah.
You smile. I was like, I love pictures. I love designing shoots. Like, I love that stuff.
Yeah.
So I was like, oh yeah, I can model, and I did it when I was in my early 20s just to build confidence.
Cool.
And then ended up it's like, I love media and I love entertainment and I love television. So if I'm gonna do it, I gotta do it. So I did. Awesome. I mean, I was literally, out of the people who applied for my job, I was the only person who did not have journalism experience.
I love that.
Yeah.
I love it. Well, and to know what you brought to the table had so much more depth than what I think degrees do nowadays, right?
Yeah.
I feel like I talk about this all the time with my husband, because he has cultivated this incredible company, and I love listening to him, and I'm like, if people are always like, where did he go to school?
Yeah.
He actually doesn't have an alma mater.
Yeah.
I have an alma mater, but he doesn't, and we're really okay with the fact that if our children grow up and don't want to go to college, I would rather you follow your passion, because your passion is going to be what leads you to happiness, which will lead you to financial blessing.
Yeah.
But if you're trying to segment yourself into law and you don't even like it, you're just doing it because you want to have money that a lawyer has, or you want to be a judge, it's not going to make you, it's not going to
make
satisfy
you.
Mm-hmm. So to see that you kind of overcame an obstacle, you did what you didn't think you could do.
Yeah.
And then you're like, okay, where you did it for 12 years. That's a pretty long time.
Yeah.
But not like full on, like some people retire at their 20 year in mark. So you were like, okay, I'm 40, I'm done. What was I know that there was like a finishing point. What did that look like?
Yeah. So we talked about this because then I know everybody's guilty of it. So you can never say you're not.
Yep.
But about a year or so before, I mean, I was getting really run down because I went through both pregnancies on air. They were high risk. It was difficult. I didn't sleep. I was still trying to have newborns and be on that schedule of 4 hours of sleep a night. So, you know, you go to bed at 10, the baby would wake up at 11. I'd go back to bed, the baby would wake up at 1, then I'd get up at 3 and go to work. So that was my schedule for a while. Both kids were little, and it was really hard. It took a lot to maintain, but again, because I had grown up literally working morning till night my whole life, I was able to handle it.
Sure.
And no matter what my outside stressors are, I'm always pretty happy and positive. I don't let that stuff get to me. So everybody always thinks you're fine. You're fine.
Totally.
You put on makeup, and I always joked because I was like, it's smoke and mirrors. Because I go home at night and I'm like, oh God, like I can't look at myself and they're like, you know, you're like purple under, like it just look, and they're like, you don't get bags under your eyes. I'm like, yeah, I don't get puffy bags, but they're there when I take the makeup off. So it's, you know, I think we, again, in this online community, we think everything's perfect. And I'm pretty transparent in most of my postings because I'm like, I'm exhausted or, you know, like right now I'm struggling, like losing water weight with fitness because my stomach, you know, after kids, like you have loose skin and people in pictures don't think you have it. But it's because you're sitting like this. Like it's not normal.
And then now the new pants are getting higher and higher, which is amazing.
It just covers it all up. It's great.
It's so good.
Yeah, but it's, you know, we always put on the best face because that's what we're always taught to do. So I was getting really burnt out and I had a couple of health scares over the past year that were really eye-opening. But before that, I had asked for signs and I would have my own private conversations on the way to work where I would be like, okay, God, I need a sign. Like, what is a sign going to be? Is it going to be direct? Am I going to know? When am I going to know it's the right time? Do I give up my career? Do I give up my status? Do I give up all this stuff that's bringing me, you know, opportunity that I can't take because I am locked in a job that doesn't allow you to be creative? And so, you know, I got the signs. That's what I was saying. Everybody's done this. We ignored the signs. I ignored the signs. I ignored the other sign. And it would finally got me to one point where I was driving to work just crying because I was so emotional, asking for help. And still felt really scared about the decision. And I, you know, finally, and I actually shared this, we did our little going away podcast at News 3.
Oh, nice.
And my kids, you know how they write the little papers about you? Like for mother, whatever. So the last one last year in May, before I made this decision, I didn't make this decision really until summer. I knew I was thinking about it, but I had not made a decision. And my kids both wrote, one of them, they were fill in the blanks, and one of them wrote, my mommy is, and then it was ... and the answer was always tired. And then the other one, the younger one, no, that was the younger one. The older one was, I wish my mom could, and it said get more sleep.
Oh my God.
So it got to the point where like they were noticing it, and I I always get tear, but I was like, God, they really see how tired I am. So is it worth showing them, like my mom did to me? You work till you kill yourself because you want to be a strong woman and you want to show that you can make it on your own, or do you decide to take a step back for your health and your wellness and your family and see what else is in store for you? And so I pretty much, I think, shocked everybody. Because I went in there and I was like, I'm done. It's time. And I can tell you that day was really hard. And every person I told at that station cried, which meant a lot to me because, again, you don't know how much of an impact you make until you leave sometimes, which is sad.
And they don't either, honestly.
No. But every reaction was people just crying. And I had viewers crying. And I had viewers, you know, writing to me saying, you helped my dad get to chemo therapy every morning because you helped us get there safe, letting us know if I could get them there on time. And you helped prolong his life for like 2 years, and he just passed away. Like I got those kind of messages.
Wow.
And I was like, so the last few weeks of work were probably the most emotional. Like, it was a lot.
Yeah, and here you are, like, asking for signs, and then you get the answer after you finally say yes to the answers, because I know signs come all the time, and it's if our eyes are open and our willingness.
Yes, you have to be there to accept and receive them.
Yeah, exactly, because he'll give them to you all day long, but we'll fly by him in the middle of the night because we're on the move.
Yeah.
Is that you're dealing with all the emotions of, oh my gosh, did I make the right decision?
Yeah.
And I think knowing your why and knowing that your children and your health, if you don't have those things and your family, you're not going to have all of the goodness that you can even have in store for you later. So recognizing that, and it's so interesting. Just today, and it had nothing to do with this podcast, I was just sensing, like, talking to my girls from Core Creatives, and I wanted to post on there, what is one thing you could do for your happiness barometer today that would increase it? Posted it, and I was like, man, that's a really good question. Let me self-check. Let me find out what my answer is before I just give it to the world.
There's a reason I asked that to them.
Then I posted on social media, and as I was sitting down to get ready for you being here, I looked, and 3 people said, quit my job.
Wow.
2 people said sleep, and 1 person said meditation. And I was like, wow. Like, we're so driven for achievement. And the expectations that we put on ourselves are so high, and we don't know any better. It's usually subconscious. Like, it's not something we even realize that we're doing until you get to the place where you have no choice. And you say, oh man, something's going to break. Yeah. And for you, it was your body and potentially your relationships.
My mental capacity.
So you said, I'm out. And you already knew, like, you had already been cultivating your passions for some time. Yeah. Fitness was one of them. Where in that time frame was your, like, mental health coming into play and your spiritual journey?
So it's kind of hard because it was such a long process. I think that the overall part of that transition was probably about 2 years ago, because I was at a point where I was using the gym, physical fitness, as therapy to deal with the postpartum. Yeah. So I knew that it was medicine. I was also dealing with autoimmune viruses. I was dealing with a lot of food intolerances. Everything I was eating was making me sick. So there was a lot of things that happened prior to the bigger health scare. So there were signs prior to, and I had went to specialists to find out what was wrong with me, or I had all my hair falling out. Things like that had happened several times. And so I went to them at work and I said, listen, I am a creative person. Like, I need to have a creative outlet. So I'm going to start doing this, my food recipes for the healthier eating, because I devised recipes that were gut friendly for anybody. Okay. Because a lot of the problem is most people will eat them, and I don't believe in keto. I hate keto. I hate paleo. I hate all the diets that are specific. Yeah. Because again, they're still not specific enough for you. Right. But I've went through and dwindled through a lot of foods that found the ones that everyone can pretty much tolerate, like squashes. There's certain things we can all eat that don't bother us, that are not a nightshade, and they're not a, like, there are certain things. Okay. So I started to create videos for YouTube as fun. Like, I was like, I'm going to create these recipes because I cook. I was in the restaurants. Yeah. I love food. I think that we are all connected by food.
Yes, totally.
Even if you can't work out like me, you can cook like me. Because we can all cook. That's awesome. And I think breaking bread together is something that obviously we're supposed to do. Yeah. And we don't do enough of because we're in such a rush anymore. But there's a way to do it and it to taste good. Because I hate food that tastes like crap.
Yeah, you're like, and people always will ask me, like, ugh, why are you eating that? I'm like, have you tried it? Don't say, it's just because it's beets. Doesn't mean it's
bad. It's how you make it. Yeah. So I've used all these background things to make recipes.
So cool.
So I started doing that, and then I fell into the fitness world via friends, and found a photographer who we talked about, who is my mastermind coach, who's James Patrick. Yeah. And he is one of the top 10 fitness photographers in the world. So cool. He's incredible. And he kind of was brought into my life by someone else. Yeah. I worked with him, and then he came back into my life on his own and invited me into this group. It was a selected group. They hand-selected everyone in it, and we were invited, and we were put together, and we were literally put together for a purpose. Wow. Because I've never walked into a room, and I think any woman that's listening will understand this. You walk into a room of 11 other fit alpha mentality females.
Yeah.
Usually not the most inviting space or the most like open space.
Yeah.
I kid you not. I have never walked into a room where I have felt more able to be myself.
That's awesome.
Because we share the same struggles. We, like, again, everyone you see, and most of these women have been published in national publications. We are not just that persona online. Like, we all struggle with the same thing. We all think we look like crap. You know, you have days like, you know, you feel bloated AF and you're like, I can't even get my pants on. These people who you see in magazines that you're idolizing thinking, I can never be like that. They're not like that all the time.
Right. You're just seeing one millisecond.
You're seeing a picture, and that's why, you know, I mean, I use my nice pictures online, but again, I don't pretend to be that way all the time, and I'm not, because I like my life and I like food. So that just started it, and he brought me into the group, and I didn't really know what the reason was in the beginning of the year. And the WellFit Social actually came out of our first retreat that we did. Amazing. It was me saying, I don't want to be just like, I don't want to go into personal training. I don't want to just do nutrition coaching. Like, I always want to do it all. I want to do it all. But how can I help everybody else do it too? And they helped me come up with the WellFit Social event. And like you said, it was the first of its kind here like that, because it's multiple speakers, all different stories, multiple vendors. Everybody's invited. It's not just for, you know, it's not just for fitness professionals.
Totally.
You know, the conference I'm going to of his is for fitness professionals. But it's, you know, it's targeted to that. Mine, I was like, I just want it to grow as a network. And we just need to support each other more. And that's where it came from. So when I was leading into this year, that came to me in spring. My 40th birthday was in June. And I said to myself, I'm 40. I feel better than I ever have as far as physical looks. Like, I love having muscle. I like being curvier. And I'm not trying to be like, you know, back in the day we were doing 2 hours of cardio and sweating it out. It's so bad. Buns of Steel videos.
It's so good. It's so true.
But we all did it. And I didn't want to do that anymore. So I was like, you know, there's a way to tell everybody that this is inclusive and we can all be a part of wellness. You don't have to be running a marathon. You don't have to just do CrossFit. 100%. You don't have to just do yoga. Like,
or just the certain diet, or just the, you know, none of those
Everything is specific to individuals, and I think that we're realizing that now more through science as well, like your own individual biome and what your, you know, your DNA, the triggers. I mean, we all, like they say, what you do is it pulls the trigger on your illnesses.
Absolutely.
And mine all went back to stress and lack of sleep.
Absolutely.
I had nothing else wrong with me. I did every test under the sun.
That's crazy.
I mean, I did every test for hormones. I did every test for thyroid. I developed all these lumps in my throat that they thought were cancerous. It wasn't. It was all stress.
Which is so interesting, because my mom recently had something similar in like lumps happening where it looked like she got hit in the face, to be honest. But she had like a golf ball size knot on her cheek. And I remember her coming out and she had like a compress on it when I saw her, and I was like, oh my gosh, she deals with like little babies. Like that she has a daycare and preschool in her home.
Oh my gosh.
I'm like, what happened to you? I was thinking of all the things that could go wrong, and she's like, I don't know, I just woke up with this, it's so sore, it hurts. I think it's just the beginning of a sty. Well, styes usually are here, not like on your
not
cheekbone.
out here on the bone.
Right? So 2 days goes by, it started turning like black and blue, was not going away. She got it checked out, and the doctor literally was like, it's just stress. It's stress induced. Here's meds. Right?
Of course.
And so she's like, no. She's always been an advocate of no, don't do that. Thankfully, I took that and ran with it very strongly, because the amount of meds that we could have been you know, taking on so many different levels, for me, physical, mental. I wish they had a spiritual med, but they don't. We need Jesus pills, but we don't have those yet. Stand by.
There's your $1 million idea.
Stand by. But seriously, I was like, I was so proud of her for saying no, and she's like, okay, like this is a sign. And this was prior to her coming into her faith, and so she was just like, I need to slow down. I need to, like, all of the things that are weighing me down, there is a reason for it, and I need to address them. And again, that's going back to the root cause. And if the root cause is deprivation of sleep and depriving yourself from joy because you're so stressed that you can't even feel other emotions, even if you're putting on a happy face. And I know firsthand, I was the best at that. I was just talking to a girlfriend. I'm like, I felt like I had so many friends, and yet I had no friends because I wouldn't give the depth of my soul. I was just giving the front. And I didn't purposely do that. Like, I didn't walk through life thinking like I have these surface level of friendships. I can't tell them that. I can't share that. I just did it. It was what I was used to since I was little. Like, you just bring them along for the ride, and it's going to be a great party. I was the party planner. I was like always willing to bring everyone together. You got this. This is great. Let's go. And it came crashing and burning. And when it happened, I had 2 little ones as well, and was dealing with it was almost like I never dealt with the first postpartum depression that I had with my son. I just suppressed it and kept going and kept being busy and started a new company and did more things. Then I had another baby, because that's the American dream, right? You have a boy and then a girl and the white picket fence and the nice car and the 2 businesses and all of that. And from the outside looking in, it was all picture perfect. And then I made a lot of wrong decisions in that time. And a part of it was striving so hard to have wholeness that I completely broke. To the point of almost losing my marriage. And I noticed it, again, how you did through your children, where they started needing daddy more than they needed mommy. I literally physically saw, one day came home, we were at the edge of the driveway, dad was home talking to the neighbor, and they were with him, and I'm like, hey guys. And instead of them like running up to me, little teeny tiny toddlers, my daughter had just started walking, they went to daddy and said, no. And my heart broke. And I was like,
so hard.
I'm making wrong decisions in this very moment. I'm making wrong decisions. And so I just like always encourage people, like what the decision that you made, all these people trying to increase their happy barometer, you know the answer.
You do.
You know it innately, and yet we're avoiding it. And so to face it head on, it doesn't mean it's easy. It doesn't mean that everything becomes rainbows and butterflies afterwards, but boy, are you a step closer. So to know and see like the joy that you experienced on the day of the WellFit Social, and
incredible.
You even got to be on the camera because the new Channel 3 came out.
That was the biggest surprise.
Oh, it was a surprise?
It was a surprise.
I didn't know that.
I didn't arrange that. The one thing that I can say, and most people, like we said, don't know a lot about TV news. You see what you see, or you have a perception of, which is not very true. Most people, like, they're not wanting to come to your house after something bad happens, trust me, because we have people crying and breaking down after they have to do it. But it's part of their job, so they do it anyways, which is what we all do. You do it anyways. But that station, if you ever leave a news station, you are out. Like, your security, like your photo up, like you don't belong here anymore, we'll see you later type thing. I mean, because you're obviously, you're not under contract and you're not an employee. But 100%. Because I had such a good relationship with them, and I wasn't leaving to go to a competitor, I wasn't leaving to do something else in TV news. They were so supportive to the point where it was eye-opening for me, because again, my entire 12 years I had seen them be pretty cold with most people.
A job.
It's a job, and you're replaceable. I did fine because I put my whole heart into it. I was on 24/7 no matter where I was. I was on, I was representing, I was answering, I was talking, I was helping people. And the one good thing out of that, despite burning myself out, was that I did make a lasting impression with them, and I did actually touch them in an emotional way, which are people that I'd worked with for a long time, and they're all my family. But it was for them to send that day to put my little event on the news that, you know, again, they usually, once you're gone, they write you off. To still be included like that was really overwhelming. And I got pretty emotional when I saw that, because Jessica was like, they're here. And I was like, oh my gosh, like they actually care how I'm doing. Like they actually cared as a company. And they've been extremely supportive. So I've been back, I fill in, like I've done Coast Live and I get to host still. So I'm still allowed in the building, you know, it's one of those things.
You weren't totally kicked out.
I wasn't kicked out.
That's amazing.
But it also goes to show that I've always been a firm believer in that of, you know, I've never asked anyone to do something I wouldn't do myself. When it comes to work or management or jobs, like I'm the first person scrubbing the floor or the first person taking out the trash. And you know, but I think if we all led that way, that we again are all we're all on that same level. There is no hierarchy really. We are all on the same level.
Absolutely.
We have we cannot doubt that. And I just think that the way you treat people at your jobs really does foresee your future with it, because I still have all these great connections.
Well, even in your bartending, like you said, like some of these bartending people not only helped you now, they've helped your husband get it, like start his company. I mean, I think that, you know, they always say like, don't burn a bridge, never burn a bridge. If you can help it, never burn a bridge.
If you can help it. There are people who deserve it. Yes,
well,
we gotta say,
like, they're burning from the other end. So if you don't do
Yes.
something to your side, you're gonna catch on fire.
Yes.
Totally get that, totally believe in it. But if you can help it, you know, that's where the focus is of just like, you know, be kind and generous. And the more you are, the more you receive in that. And it's not always easy. It does take energy to do that. And doing it for everyone, probably not the best. So learn your boundaries, because boundaries are really important in that. And probably something as you're transitioning that you're still trying to figure out, because you're like, okay, how do I say no to certain things and yes to certain things? And they want you to like go full force with everything right now. And you're like, hold on.
Everybody did.
I need to just breathe for a second. I haven't even like enjoyed what I said no for. Right? Like enjoy the kids. Enjoy the thing. Yeah, like just hold on and get your health, you know, in check. If here you are sharing about wellness, like you want to continue and pursue that testimony so that you can say it's not, you know, we're all on a journey, and there's never like a finite point, I don't think, until you're in heaven and you've got that full wellness. But if we're in pursuit of it, what does that look like 6 months down the road? What does that look like a year from now, where you can say, I sleep soundly for 7 hours a night? Like that would be a dream.
And then that is my
right? Like,
please God, let me sleep for more than like 6 hours at a time.
I pray that too. And I'm up. I have back issues. My daughter comes over to me, and she still needs me to help her pee at night. And then
you're like,
I just want to sleep. Luckily, I think it's like twice a week I'll get like a full 6 hours with no interruption, and I'll wake up and apologize
Something's
to my husband.
Something happened.
How many times did you wake up last night? Because I am so sorry. I was done. I couldn't do it. I felt horrible.
I've done that too.
No, they actually slept. I'm like,
there's your little bit of relief you're given. You're given a little bit of relief. Not all of it, but a little bit, just to know. But I think our health is our biggest blessing, because once your health goes, we've seen everybody. Like, you know, that's when most people either turn to God or they repent on what they've done, is when their health goes. That's the biggest trigger for people.
It is.
And we don't educate people enough early on to protect that value. It's that once you get to that point, then there's all this regret. I don't want to have any regret. My life has been amazing. I've worked my butt off. I have like blood, sweat, and tears keeping like family businesses going, and I am grateful for every single ounce of it, which is probably why I'm fairly joyful, like overall. And we didn't go to church like through my childhood because of the fact that we had the business. We had live animals to take care of, and there's nothing that teaches more responsibility than a live animal,
alive,
because you can't, you got to go feed it. Like you can't just not feed it.
True.
And my mom started like leaving me on my own to care for the farm when I was like 16. So I was in high school, working 2 jobs, managing the farm, going to horse shows every weekend. And that's why it's hard for me when, especially, you know, our kids are spoiled. They're spoiled.
Totally.
Like flat out tell my kids they're spoiled all the time. You know, you have like one chore and you barely do that.
Can't do it, right.
And I had, you know,
they wouldn't even
hours of chores.
But
it was, you like you said, you go through it, like you don't put it, it's not in your path unless you can handle it.
Yeah, sure.
So I was just that kind of person. I was very responsible as a kid. Never got into trouble. Always got good grades. I was so focused on becoming a strong woman and being independent that, I mean, I went right into the workforce. And so, I mean, literally, I have been in the workforce with no less than 2 jobs for 25 years. And it's, you know, and I'm only 4, but because I started when I was 15 with my first job. I was driving when I was like 11. I mean, I was driving a car.
My mom was like the same.
I mean,
it's farm life.
It's farm life.
Like,
you learn to drive. You got to drive everything. Like I was driving the tractor. I had the 4-wheeler. Yeah, I mean, I could, you know, I had the spreader. I could do the brush hog and cut stuff. I mean, I was a little kid, and I look at my daughter who's 11 now. I wouldn't let her I wouldn't trust her to drive down the street.
Not even hold the blower.
No, like she scares the crap out of me. I'm like, she would not take out a fence and be like, like just take a picture of it and keep going. Like she wouldn't care. She'd be like, oh, it's a fence, hey. Like that's what would happen now.
Let's put this on YouTube.
And that's you know, so I'm like, I guess, you know, you either have work ethic or you don't. That's a big thing. And I've always had it, which is my blessing, that I've always been able to work and I've enjoyed it. So I loved every job I've had. But they all were put in my path so that I could come to this place.
I totally agree.
And I can be in this space now. So that's my I was literally, they all come together, and it's weird because I have worked in so many
different
jobs. I mean, I've done construction. I did cable berries when I was in high school as well as a part-time job. You did the hardware store. I learned how to do plumbing,
what you were doing
electrical,
in school,
painting.
Very like feminine.
And then I was doing fashion stuff during the day. So I always,
cool.
I don't know. I think that we need to always learn more, and I think that we need to be more than who we think we should be, because we're all capable of it.
Absolutely.
And we're all capable of. They joke me at work because my thing was Wonder Woman. Because that's what they always said I looked like. I thought my mom looks like Wonder Woman because she looks like Linda Carter. She's very Wonder Woman-esque, and she's got like my biceps are small compared to my mom.
I bet. You know,
that's probably why I was such a good kid. She scared the crap out of me. She had lunch whips, and we had 40 acres. You weren't gonna find me. If I did anything wrong as a child, I was going out back. So she was Wonder Woman to me.
That's amazing.
And so when they started that nickname at work,
how crazy.
It was, I mean, you don't want to ever be, like you always say, I don't want to be my parents, but I'm totally my parents. And I'm like, wow, I guess, you know, I can see the correlation. And then I started having more fun with it as I got older. And so now I'm like, I think, but that was the thing. Everybody has that little superhero that we can totally channel and do more with. And we just have to actually do it.
I love that. It's so important. And I think, so honestly, people just don't know. They don't because of the negative self-talk that we give ourselves so commonly, whether it is about your physique, whether it is about your mentality, your capability, your are you enough? So often we're constantly telling ourselves that the world will tell you all the time, but if you're also telling yourself you're not good enough.
I'm guilty, 100% guilty.
It's like, well, how can I stop this? And changing that mindset and looking into the places of our hearts where we are capable, because we are. And so that's kind of where we are now. Like you're starting a mastermind. I love masterminding with women, I think, and anyone really, but women specifically, because I feel like that's where my heart starts with myself. And so that's where I want to start, is like to give that back. So share with people that's coming. I want them to know about it. It's part of you being here.
It's crazy. And I told you I was the one who would never say that word. I don't, because I think again, we're so inundated with social media that there's so many people who haven't lived life who promote themselves as coaches or business people like that, but they haven't experienced anything outside of Instagram and social media. So my thing with it, and it did take me a long time to get to this too, is how can I help people, but also have a little bit of an income, because I'm going to have something next year. And it was to create this. So mine is going to be more of the accelerated business growth over probably like a 6-week program, but it's going to be a very select amount of people. So between 10 and 15 people only at a time. And I'm only going to do it post events. So January. And so it's going to be, we'll do it in cycles, but it is going to be focused mainly on PR and media, finding your perfect pitch. Is your business even pitchable? Are you media worthy? Pretty much everyone is, but there's certain aspects that will get you media attention that you may not know. And then using the people who helped me with the branding and those things coming in, saying, what are you wasting your money on? Because again, none of us have a budget to start this.
Right? No,
we don't. No one has the money.
People are always like, oh, she's just got a pocketbook.
No.
I don't have a money tree. I don't
Nope.
have
I
a
wish.
purse filled with money. My child might think so, but not the case.
No, and so there's things that you can save money on. There's things you should spend money on. So the people I have for the other 4 weeks of that program will be focused on that. And that I do have all of these resources now through the mastermind that I did, which was a year long. It was a huge commitment for me. And it was scary because it meant me actually saying what I was going to do out loud, which I was
and
not.
having other people keeping you accountable.
And the accountability is huge for me because as much as I work, I've always worked for someone, and I've always had a schedule. So I know I have to be here from 3:30 a.m. to 1 p.m. From 1 p.m. to 2, I'm at the gym. From 2 to 4, I get the kids, and then we go to I thrive on a schedule because I have no choice then.
Sure.
I'm pretty lazy when it comes to, probably because I have worked so much. I just want to sit there. I don't want to do anything. I want to veg out on my phone and be like, a 12-year-old preteen. I don't want to do anything. So the accountability has been huge for me this year. My accountability partners have changed several times throughout the year. But I want to obviously include that where we'll have a lot of accountability and a lot of homework and a lot of growth stuff. So it's more so people in our realm, or our more of our age group, I should say, because they see people who haven't accomplished anything, but I want them to know there are people out there who are willing to help them who've actually been through it.
That's good.
And I refuse to let anyone down, but I also no BS. So I don't sugarcoat anything when it comes to what I've experienced or what I've done to overcome it. And there's, we could talk for hours about just crazy. But there's ways to deal with it. And sadly, we are still in a very corporate world. It's not just social media.
Very much
so there's a lot that you still have to do outside of social media, which is television, radio, those kind of things.
Absolutely. And that's a cool thing, I think, about bringing it into something that's accessible to the community and doing it local and starting local. And not to say it'll always stay that way, because I think your network's going to grow nationally, internationally. Come on, Jesus. Is that you get to actually have that face-to-face interaction, and you get to actually grow with somebody's heart. And it's not through a screen, which we're so inundated with already. And then from there, just like when I create these, retreats for women to bring them together, I want to see your eyes. I want to hear your heart. I don't want it to be a cultivated, scripted message. I don't want it to be a video that you've done 12 edits of.
Exactly.
I want you.
Raw, real.
And people are afraid to put themselves in that position, and saying yes to a mastermind is intimidating. But the biggest thing is while we're here to encourage you and help you along the way, we also aren't going to do it for you. And so if you're saying yes to joining experiences like this, it's you taking that first step to making those dreams come true.
It is.
And I get it. I saw the first couple masterminds I was ever introduced to were from huge people that I follow on social media, and I was like, 25 grand a year? Are you kidding me? Where are they getting this money? Again, I don't have the money tree yet. One day I'm going to figure out how to plant that and sell a Jesus pill. Okay, check.
So put those two things down: money tree and Jesus pill.
Jesus pill.
Maybe the money tree could grow Jesus fruit.
Oh, there you go. Hey, Jesus already growing.
There was the fruit, so you get a whole thing going on there. We got a logo and a brand right there. It's its own little tree.
That's hilarious. It's so good, and actually really ironic for what my titles are for my retreats next year.
Oh gosh.
I'll tell you afterwards, because they're not announced yet. That's so funny that you said that.
Oh God, that's perfect.
But it's just so funny that we have these concepts and these huge ideas and these buzzwords that are being thrown at us all the time, but there actually is value to them. And so starting somewhere small and leading into what's next, it's awesome. You actually started pretty big with your mastermind, I think, with the fact of the resource of who it was.
And I was blessed to be invited into that.
Absolutely.
I would have never done it on my own.
Sure.
I would have never taken that step.
That's awesome.
I would not have. I can tell you 100%. I would not have done it, but I also would not have made the decisions this year, and I would not have created the WellFit, and I would not have found these people that feel like, because again, I still have never felt like I fit in. And I still don't at this point in my life. Like I still feel like I'm trying, because I do. I like everybody. So it's really hard for me to say, like, this is my one group of friends. It's never going to be me. But I am learning to accept that. And these people are, because I can call them at any time. And it's like like I said, we were put in this group together based on personality, and we are all very dominant female forces. We're all very strong-minded. We know what we want. But because of that, and we're so blunt and honest with each other, there's no like smoke and mirrors with that. We are literally like, okay, you don't want to eat this because you're on a strict macro diet. Like, we don't sit there and say, oh, come on, girl, I'll have the glass of wine. Because we know that person's going to look at us and be like, no, I'm going to probably punch you in the face right now. Okay, all right, got you, I got you, go ahead. So it's a respect thing that we have amongst each other. And I think, any relationship, my marriage especially, respect is my number one. I don't care about anything else, lust, love, none of it. Respect is my key to every relationship. And as soon as that respect is broken, then there's no relationship to me. And I've dealt that in the journalism business as well, where I've had people, that have tried some shady tactics. And as soon as that is gone with me, you are out of my, I have zero tolerance, but I also set zero tolerance perimeters. That's where I stay within that. And if you cross this line, I'm sorry, you cannot be a part of my life. And I had to do that this morning. I had to go on and block people again because there was someone who was knocking my post about my businesses. And he said that it was boring and that all I'm doing is bragging about myself. And I had my friend who owns a huge brand that she just sold text me at 2 a.m. because she's on the West Coast.
Oh, sure.
And she was like, you need to go delete that person right now. And she screenshot, like she saw it. And I was like, oh God, he responded. Because I was like, just being, I was just like, whatever, seriously, go get a life. And he responded back with that, like, all you do is brag about yourself. And I was like, I'm not in any way bragging, because this is stuff that I've created to help other people. But I think that's also when people have that vacancy inside themselves that they put it out in
all the
front of
time.
you. So,
because when they're pointing, I always tell people, if somebody's pointing, there's 3 fingers pointing back at them. And they haven't dealt with what they're doing, right? I mean, they're like, oh, wait. And so when they can, so the next thing is when they figured themselves out, which is exactly what you've done, you now are like this. Right? And so your hands are being given. You're willing to give what you've learned because you've stopped pointing fingers at any of the places within yourself that are not good. And let me just put a thing out there about this whole concept of personal branding, because it is something I deal with our coaching group all the time, because people feel awkward. Nobody wants to have an entire social media feed of just their own face. Okay?
No, I don't.
It's not, I can't wait till I get a post where I'm like, okay, 1, 2, 3, awesome, I can post my child. Like, I don't like it. It's not comfortable. It's not something that I ever imagined I would do, and I do not do it. As I know, a lot of the women who I get to work with individually, it's not out of conceit. No. If you read what it is that we're sharing, there's so much more to and depth of who we are besides the picture. Maybe it's a professional photo. Maybe we look awesome in it. Maybe it's done and we edited the photo. At the end of the day, it's not about that. It's about the girth of what's behind it.
Exactly.
And 100%. We're not selling ourselves. We're selling what we believe. And I don't care what you're doing. It could be a recipe. It could be anything. I really don't care. As if you're passionate about it and it affects you in a positive way and you're bringing good into the world, I am cheering you on. I don't care what your feed looks like.
I like everybody's, like, I go through and literally like everything because it helps people.
Totally. 100%.
But also for the people who are trying to build their brands, you have to play the game. I'm sorry. You can't just post a picture of your your little, like, you have to play the game. And with the algorithms and the way that Instagram and Facebook are formatted, they pick up the photos. They share the photo that they feel will get the most interaction. It doesn't matter what you say most of the time.
It's true.
So the photo is like what you're kind of like letting this burst out ahead of what's really behind it.
100%.
And if that photo does not get recognized as high quality, smiling, selfie, sexy, those things, that's what sells. It's not going to be seen in anybody's feed. So you're literally wasting your time.
Right.
So if someone thinks that I'm conceited or full of myself because I like to take photos, I like to take photos because I love photo shoots and I love being in front of a camera.
Yeah.
I love playing dress up because most of the time I'm not dressed up, and I feel good about myself. I mean, I don't, and it's a strategic purpose. So anybody that's looking at branding right now that says like, I don't know what kind of photos to post. I mean, you can go to stock photos as well.
Yeah, sure.
But as long as they're a high quality and they have something that Instagram or Facebook likes, they'll share it.
Yeah.
Also, asking questions in your posts and things like that.
Yes,
Birthdays,
yes.
congratulations, that all creates engagement.
Yeah.
So there's a lot of tricks to it.
There are.
So it's not that people are doing it every day because they're vain, and it's the furthest from the truth.
Right.
So more people need to recognize that it's a business online,
Yes, 100%.
and you just liking someone's post will help it be seen more.
Yeah.
So I post a lot of my fitness, professional photos because again, I paid money to get them taken, so I'm going to use them.
Exactly.
But I use them to inspire myself that I was at that point and I can get back to that point.
That's awesome.
So, and as someone who did go through a lot of bullying as a kid, did go through eating disorders, weighed next to nothing.
Sure.
I was teased quite a bit and I've never wanted anyone else to feel that way, so I go out of my way to make people feel comfortable.
That's awesome.
So when people say it to me, I'm just like so taken aback.
Yeah,
I'm
like, you don't even know what I've been through.
I'm like the least vain person. I just love taking pictures.
Yeah.
It's just something I
fun.
enjoyed because it made me feel better when I was being bullied in school. That my mom sent me to this modeling school because she thought I had pretty eyes, and she sent me through this school, and they put me in front of a camera and they were like, oh, you take good photos, and that made me feel good. And this was after wanting to get plastic surgeries and fighting all these things as a kid, where I was like, there's so much wrong with me because that's what people are making fun of.
That's crazy.
And
You do have pretty eyes.
no, thank you. But that was like the one thing I focused in on as a kid. My mom was like, oh, let's go take you, because she saw that I was struggling, and I was getting picked on. My ears used to stick out really far, so I was getting bullied for that. And that I shot up to my height in 8th grade, and I weighed like 102 pounds. So they called me AIDS patient. They said I had cancer, like I was sick, and like everything that it was a lot. And I, the only thing that saved me was I was strong and I had horses. So I just had this getaway with animals that was my therapy.
Wow.
at home.
Which is absolutely a therapy
and it is a
in and of
therapy.
itself.
So that saved me as a kid, was having animals. But
amazing.
when I got older, I'm like, I do love, but then I realized I actually like taking photos, but I hid it through most of my late 20s because I thought people were thinking that it I don't even know the best way to say it, makes you seem less intelligent, or that's your only thing you can do. So I just didn't do it anymore.
Which is interesting because, like, you had shared that with me previously that you were bartending, and I bartended for a while as well, and there was like a stigma to that, and like people would treat you as a bartender, quote unquote, and it would always make me so mad because I'm like, I have a degree and I'm opening my own business, and like you don't know what I do at 5 a.m. I just rode down 25 streets on a bike with a makeshift bucket on the back of it with weights and medicine balls to train 20 women on the beach to do personal training. And that was 4 hours after I went to sleep. Like, don't judge me. And so, like, I'm so passionate about face value and what people, like, see as this, again, like you said, smoke and mirrors. Like, just pull the shade back. You're going to find out so much about somebody if you're also equally vulnerable and not doing it in any judgment. That is where it's like a judge-free zone. We all are equal. We all have flaws. And even with our picture-perfect imagery, we're not perfect. We struggle with the same things.
We're not supposed to be.
No. If we had that, we wouldn't be reliant on who we need to be reliant on.
Like, it's not, if we were perfect, there would be, none of this life would be necessary. So I agree with that wholeheartedly. So women that are struggling with, it's like the shaming. It is shaming. And it happens in every aspect. It happens in every angle. It doesn't matter whether it's weight, it's race, it's age. It happens at every angle. The day I announced my 40th birthday, I lost probably 1,000-some people because I was old.
Stop it!
Like, guys that were like, oh God, I didn't know you were that old. Well, thanks, because I guess I look, I look younger. Thanks, but I mean, so it's like even ageism, those type of things, and those are the stereotypes. Like, and that's why, honestly, if I get published this year in one of those magazines, my main thing is that at age 40, I gave up a career that most people fight their entire lives to get because I'm going to shift gears and do what's right for me.
Yeah,
like you don't
absolutely.
need the label, and
No.
you don't have to have everybody's acceptance. Obviously, we know that.
Yeah.
But it's been a big. That was a big
So
shift. That was hard for me to take.
Yeah.
Like
Absolutely.
yeah, you're like,
I mean,
oh, I made it.
Yes,
What did you
you're
really
like,
make
wait,
it
what
to?
did you make? Right,
Yeah.
exactly. You made like a sickness that has
Yeah,
now festered
you made it
inside
to
of
a
you.
label or a
Yeah.
title that
Yeah.
somebody else thinks is cool.
Titles are
And that's
huge for
the
me.
hard. Yeah, and titles are
Yeah.
hard for everybody
Yeah.
because we all want to be seen,
Yeah.
and that's the whole thing. Is we all want to be seen. We all want to be recognized.
Yeah.
We all want someone to
Right.
to
be
care
loved.
about us.
Yeah. Totally.
And that's it doesn't.
But
that's
that's
why the
literally-
titles to me don't matter and
No.
never have.
Nope.
But I'm contradicting myself because I wouldn't let go of them.
100%.
So, yeah.
And that's another thing. Subconsciously,
Yeah.
what are you pursuing? And then consciously, what do you know is right for you?
Yep.
And are you taking that path?
Yeah, exactly.
And that literally circles back to like,
Yep.
what is the one thing you can do for yourself today that moves your happiness parameter?
Yeah.
Like, I want to see it. I want to know. We want to know.
Yeah.
Post it. And please know that there are women who hear you and know you and
Yes.
see you and have walked in the same path that you're walking, in some facet, mind, body, and soul. We've all experienced in each element of our lives a struggle. And so, just ask questions. I love that you actually opened with that. You said, like, I just wanted to ask questions to people because I knew I could finally relate to them one way or another if I just kept asking.
You keep asking, you'll find out
Yeah.
who someone really is,
Yeah.
and they will. I don't want to say they'll like you eventually because not everyone's going to like you,
sure.
and you're not everybody's cup of tea, so don't try and be.
Sure.
But you can be a good person,
Yeah.
and that is regardless of anything, whatever you believe in this world. That is the only thing that matters.
Yeah,
Is just being a good
goodness.
person.
Yeah,
That's
so
it's the
true.
only thing that
Yeah.
matters, and I don't. That trumps everything else in my opinion.
Yeah.
So if you ever mistreat a server or an animal,
Yes.
I'm not gonna like you. You're not my friend. I'm
I love
sorry.
it. Or a bartender. We're
Or a
coming
bartender.
for you.
I will track you down. I'm really, really nice, except in those situations.
I love that.
We all have a limit,
Yes,
and
yes.
I can push around a 1,200-pound animal. I can hold my own. I'm fine, but
that's
we will find you.
hilarious.
Yeah,
That's
so just
good.
that's it. Be a good person. My
Yeah.
mom, even though we couldn't go to church when we
Yeah.
were at the farm, she was like, "You don't need that.
Yeah.
You don't have to go to a
Facility.
space."
Sure.
Because you can have your faith anywhere in the world as long as you have it, and that's all that matters.
Yeah.
And she was like, I don't care. And that's why, we're very open and supportive of people in every situation
Yeah.
because of the fact that if you're a good person, that is all that matters to me.
It's innate,
I
yeah.
don't care about anything else in your life as
Yeah.
long as you're a good person.
Yeah, and that's like a starting point, right, of any like coaching of
Mm-hmm.
anybody. Like, let's pull back the layers to find out who you
Yeah.
are. Where is your identity
Where it
being?
is.
Yeah, where is it being like
I love it.
kind of struggling? Where are you struggling in your identity? And
Yeah.
if you can get back to the fact of none of this matters, like I am good because we are made to be good. We
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
are made in his image and he is only good.
Yeah.
Therefore, let's start from there. And
Yeah.
I love that.
Just
I
start
think
there. I mean, that's all you have to do, and it's
Yeah.
pretty simple.
Yeah,
we
it is.
overcomplicate everything
yes,
because
we
of this
do.
stuff.
It's
we
so true.
we overcomplicate it.
It's so true.
get back to basics and just be old school.
Ooh, this is so good. I'm so excited that everybody got to hear from you
I know,
today.
this was awesome.
I feel like a sisterhood like just growing, which I think
I know.
is so awesome to get to know you more. And I'm really looking forward to seeing where everything goes.
Thank you.
I'm
Yeah,
also
I'm
probably
excited.
most excited just for you to get a good night's sleep.
Yeah,
So-
that too. Thank you. And for you as well.
Yeah.
Like that's what we want in life. So
Yeah.
I'm
We're in
I'm
that
ready.
season.
So
We're in that
I'm ready
season.
for my next adventures
Yes.
coming up
It's gonna
and to
be
see where everything
awesome.
goes through the end of the year. And I'm so
2020
happy.
hit
I
the
know.
ground. It's a good year. 2020.
2020.
I love
Yeah,
it.
yep.
Like you can see clearly now, right? Isn't that 2020
It's 2020 vision. It's like has all these hidden
Ooh.
like things in it. I know.
We've got to play with those words with
Yeah.
our marketing
We can
strategies.
do that. I mean,
like
there's
it.
there's so much. Yeah, there's so much
Yeah,
everybody
I didn't
can
even
do.
think about that.
But
So
I do.
good.
I feel the
I'm
shift for
excited to see
everyone.
it.
I feel
Yeah.
energy shift that a lot of
Yeah.
people are going to be very successful going
Yeah.
into the next year.
Agreed. And
Yeah.
a lot of it is local, and that's what I love so
Yeah,
much
a
about
lot.
the relationships that I formed this year alone. I'm
Yeah,
like,
and
come
we'll
on.
form even more.
Yes, so good. All right, y'all. Have an awesome day. Follow Christine Crowley. Where can they find you?
Actually, the easiest is Facebook and Instagram are both Kristen Crowley TV, and then it's KristenCrowley.com,
Yep.
and WellFit Social is under that as well on Facebook and
Yes.
Instagram. So say hi. I love talking to everybody. So yeah, just any of those are pretty easy to find.
Yeah.
Since I was in the news, if you
Yeah.
search Kristen Crowley,
It
I'm probably
comes
going
up.
to pop up. So.
It is. Her beautiful piercing eyes. All right, y'all. Have a good one.
Bye.
Tamara Andress. I'm your Fit and Faith host, and I am so excited to just be here to share with you other movers, dreamers, shakers, entrepreneurs, pastors, whatever. If you've got a head and you've got a heart, I'm so excited to explore who that is, whose you are, and discover your wholeness, your health, your wealth, and your joy. I love to exude happiness. I want people to know that this is not, this came with trial. You guys, this came with a lot of effort. This came with a lot of lows and so many highs. And I want us to experience those together. This is a real community of dreamers, and I'm excited to help catapult your calling, your kingdom experience, the purpose of your imprint on the world, wherever, however that is. So come along for the ride. I am excited to chat with you. Like, comment, review, send me a DM, send me an email. It's me responding, even though I have an incredible team. And so I'm just excited to get to know you. Let's connect, let's create community, and let's walk in our calling.